depth and seriousness of this chapter, I want to just spend a moment to do a connectivity. There was a stanza we did. Karmani eva adhikarahate.
Sorry, Amrit Bhaiji, which chapter and which verse? I've come after quite a long time, like 3 weeks, I think.
No, we are at slok 59.
Which chapter?
Second chapter.
Second. Okay, thank you, Hari Om. Sorry.
That's okay. However, listen carefully. I'm going to connect some references. You don't have to go to those stanzas which I will connect. You just be patient and listen to what I'm saying. But I'm coming back to stanza 59 where we left last couple of weeks ago. We did karmaneva adhikaraste. After that, Sri Krishna got very busy fine-tuning. He brought buddhi in this process. And then he says, buddhi yukto jahati ube sukruta duskrute. United with the buddhi. The way you want to unite with the buddhi is like what Buddha said, prajna paramita. One may just kind of browse his Diamond Sutra. Sri Krishna is also saying the same thing. Keep the buddhi in your pocket all the time. So any action you do with buddhi, not without buddhi. Buddha was walking with Anand. And there was a flea sat on his neck. Like if a flea sits on our neck, we just kind of slap and keep it away. Buddha did the same thing. But few feet walking, he realized that he did without the consent of his buddhi. So he was moving his hand on the neck. And Anand was watching, and then he said, what are you doing? He replied, I'm only reminding myself that I will never ever do anything without buddhi's consent now on. Same thing Sri Krishna is saying. Buddhi yukto jahati ube sukruta duskrute. So with karmani eva adhikaraste, he is now bringing buddhi in there. In the following stanzas, he is sharpening that buddhi. There are a couple of stanzas before Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha. One is yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam srutasya cha. And then this is the stanza before Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha. And it's going to blow Arjun's mind. You will see that. So that is why I had to make the connectivity. There is the stanza Shruti vipratipanna yada sthasyati nischala samadau achala buddhistada yogam avapsyasi. Do you see the word? There are three words here. Nischala achala samadau. Samadau means when the buddhi becomes unmoving and steady in the self, then you will be in the samadhi. And Arjun heard this. Right away he thought, oh my God, if that is so, I need to know the characteristics of that sthita prajna. So he goes on, and Sri Krishna answers, Prajahati kaman sarvan. Cast off all the desires, he says. But then he's fine tuning. He started fine tuning that stanza. People say in the Gita, we don't have 10 commandments. We don't have like do this and do that. There are tons of 10 commandments in the Gita. But Sri Krishna, out of his generosity, never said, you have to do this. He never said. He never pointed directly to you. Very generous. Nobility is at the highest level. No pressure. Just understand, and it will happen. So after that fine tuning, the characteristics of the sthita prajna, the one in the self, he keeps fine tuning. And he comes to the stanzas, bunch of stanzas about indriyas, about senses, about sense organs, how to control, etc. And there is a reason behind. After this group of stanzas, he is going to bring in stanza 72 a basket of heavenly fruit. So you just have to be patient. Just go as slowly as he is going, even though he is not going to take 24 days like we. The Gita has been spoken in zero time, believe me, in zero time. But he never hurried. Everything is fantastic, nicely moving. So in that group of indriyas, in that group of senses, how to control, etc. Or in the last lecture, there was a question by Dr. Bhatia. Oh, it sounds like very ordinary, his question. However, it is very difficult, or rather I would say impossible, to control the indriyas, the senses. He is absolutely right. Sri Krishna is going to say in a little while the same thing. Very difficult. Dr. Bhatia was just a little ahead of us. So now I'm going to connect with the stanza we left and we will move, but this was just the background I thought necessary for you to connect from the karma, then the buddhi, and then the uh, indriyas. All of this have to be pulled together. And then he will have the basket of heavenly fruit. He would say, Esha Brahmi Sthiti. He talk about Sthita Pragnasya Ka Bhasha. He said everything about that. And as a result, what is going to happen? That we will see in the last stanza. Extremely potent chapter. Extremely. Every time I just want to tell you my experience. In reading the Gita continuously, when a new cycle would begin, I would go to this stanza from 54 through 72 first, several times. If a friend asks me, I haven't read Gita yet, where should I begin? My answer is start from 54 through 72, my friend. Very important piece. Okay, so I'm connecting to stanza number 59 where we left. Vishaya vinivartante. Actually speaking, there is sandhi there in the first word. Vishayaha. It is a first vibhakti bahuvachan. Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Rasavarjam rasopyasya. Rasopyasya is rasaha api asya. Param drashtva nivartate. Now, some people say, I don't read Gita because it is in Sanskrit. Even without having background of Sanskrit, let me show you. Yeah, it has the complexity on the other side, like there is chanda. I said about 646 is one group, and the rest, for example, stanza number 70, all of a sudden has a different things. Instead of 32 syllables, it has 44 syllables. It is upajati. So there is a tons of complexity. Not only that, but there is the letters, syllables arrangement in lagu and guru, lagu and guru. I haven't talked about that. So there are quarters, there are number of syllables in the quarters, and then there would be the group of lagu and guru in certain sequences that has to meet also. However, even though there is such a complexity, without even having the background in Sanskrit, you will be easily understand the meaning, and I'm going to show you how. In each of the stanza, there is a subject of the stanza, who is the doer. There are a couple of adjectives, vishesha. They can easily be detected. You don't need much of the understanding. Then there is verb. And with the verb, there are adverbs, just like adjectives. Kriya Visheshan. And then there is verb. Once you detect this thing, the translation is done. I'm just going to give you an example with this stanza. I'm not going to do that with every stanza, though you can do that yourself. So let's see. Who is the subject here? Dehinaha. Dehinaha. But then, what kind of Dehinaha? Niraharasya Dehinaha. Who is abstinent. Dehinaha means one residing in the Deha, the soul. Vishaya Vinivartante. Whose Vishaya? Dehinaha Vishaya. What kind of Dehinaha? Niraharasya Dehinaha. So the first line. The object of senses, which is Vishaya, turn away. But whose Vishaya? Niraharasya Dehinaha. Who is abstinent or who is fasting. Fasting is a literal translation, but I translate as abstinent means all kind of other control also. Then the second line also, same thing. Rasaha nivartate. The longing is gone. And then there are a couple of, not actually couple of, but there is the adverb, rasavargyam, accept. So this, doing this thing is only 8th grade work, not a big deal. When studying anything in the world, my philosophy is make the life simple. Grasp the concept of the thing. And that is how I'm doing. Grasping the concept, you just restructure these lines and you will be able to understand what he's saying. So much for that. I'm not going too far into that, but it's just kind of a little bit of help for those people running away just because of Sanskrit language. The translation is sense objects drop out for the abstinent man, though not the longing for them. The longing is always there. His longing also ceases when he touches the Supreme. So there is a warning here. Somebody may be fasting or doing other rituals to go in samadhi and then complain, oh, I cannot do that. And here is the reason. Because the desire is always there. The sense objects might have fallen off, but the desire is always. So when the situation arises, that desire becomes strong. So this is just a warning right here. Another warning. Yatatahi konteya. Yatataha. One who is constantly doing efforts. He api. Even if Even if one is constantly doing efforts, Kaunteya is Kunti's son, and from mother to son, this is how in Sanskrit they can make the name of son. Whatever the mother name, they do it Kaunteya. Purusasya vipaschitaha. Vipaschitaha purusha, wise man. Vipaschitaha means wise. Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham mana. Two of the phrases here. Pramathini, turbulent. Turbulent senses. He's using the word turbulent for the senses. Even for the wise man who is trying, the turbulent senses will take over the mind impetuously, violently. What a marvelous warning here. Turbulent senses, one is that turbulent. Turbulent means you have to see turbulence in the aeroplane when you are crossing Atlantic Ocean from Heathrow Airport. Turbulence. He's giving the warning here that the sense organs, they are turbulent. And in turbulence, you don't know what's going to happen. When the plane starts in turbulence, you don't know what's going to happen. And then we say, haranti prasabham, violently catching the mind. What a warning here. So the translation for the whole thing. The turbulent senses, O son of Kunti, that is the son of Kunti, is a translation for Kaunteya. Impetuously carry away the mind of even a wise man, striving for perfection. Even for a wise man, even for a controlled person, if there's a little bit of room, the story is finished. You may think about Vishwamitra in the highest level of tapascharya. And there appeared Menka, and then you know. So what to do then? He is also giving the remedy for that. Tani sarvani sanyamya. By controlling them all. How do you want to control? Yukta asit matparaha. By joining with me. And me does not translate the two-handed Sri Krishna. Me translate into the infinite avyaktam, anirdashyam. That. A lot of people have misunderstood. I discuss with my friends and they say, oh, he's only egoistic saying, you know, oh, do this for me and do that for me. Oh, man, you have slipped the whole meaning. The me does not mean the two-handed human being. After the stanza number 10, he is in the full divinity. Therefore, when we read each stanza, we have to have the fixed mind that this is coming from the Advaita. Dvaita is also Advaita. People don't understand that part. For Narsi Mehta, he became Samarsa Sheth. For the yogi, like Vyas, is Advait. Same thing. It is the same thing, and I think the important part is forget about the Dvait and Advait. It's the same thing. That is probably, somebody may say, but no, I see this thing with two hands. And Swami Vivekananda asked Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans, have you seen the Advait? Show me. Oh, really? Ramakrishna Paramhans laughed about. He told him, I see him more potent than I see you. I see everywhere, in the tree, in you, in the sky, everywhere. Advait. But he was also Kali Mother's devotee, Dvaita. He is a great example who has achieved both levels. And I think to go to the last stage, one has to probably balance the meaning, or probably compromise, not compromise, but to really unite this Dvaita and Advaita. That is a big difficulty in sadhana also. Okay, so this is Tani Sarvani Sanyamya Yukta Asit Matparaha Vashehi Yasyendriyani Tasya Pragna Pratisthita. The yogi, having controlled them all, sits focused on me as the supreme goal. His wisdom is constant, whose senses are under subjugation. I think I will stop here, but I will read only the next stanza. So we will catch up from stanza number 62. There is a warning here. Jayataha Vishayan Punsaha Sangaha Teshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodha Abhijayate. I believe by my reading this style, I believe you have understood the meaning. But we will go next time. But I will take your question, please. So feel free to ask me any dilemma, and we will be happy to discuss about that. Come on, give me some question. No questions? Okay.
Amrit Bhai, you said earlier that Krishna Bhagavan recited Gita in 0 time. Is that what I understood?
Yes.
That's what he said.
And I said,
What exactly is that?
I have promised that we are going to solve that riddle.
Okay.
So at an appropriate time, however, nobody asked me this question. I was expecting from you all,
I was thinking, but I couldn't ask.
hey, you haven't told us about this thing. So what about, so then during the weekend, I thought that I would rather pose this problem earlier. And then if one of you come up with an answer, I would be delighted to hear that. Remember one thing, on a first day I said, I'm not in the chair of a guru.
Take you.
I'm also listening my own lecture right now and after that on YouTube. I will listen very carefully. I'm exactly one of you. And therefore, please, and I'm begging, please, let us together play the game. Please do not leave me alone. I am with you, you know. Otherwise, I would have beard, I would have robe, all that type of thing. So you see me as a regular person. Anyhow, Sanat Bhai, that was your anxiety to know today. But please, we have the answer.
Amrit Bhai, can I please try it? This is Neelam.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So, from my understanding, throughout the Gita, it is, we never say, it never starts with Shri Krishna Vacha. It always says Bhagwan Vacha.
Yes, Uvacha.
Yes, Vacha. I don't know Sanskrit, so anyway.
No, that's okay. The
Yes, so
Uvacha,
because it is Bhagwan Vacha,
yeah,
God is speaking or God is speaking. So
yes,
zero time, I was not listening to your lectures when you talked about when like the question was posed. But what I feel is that because the Lord was always there and he was not there. So he was sorry, or he was always there, and that's another explanation in itself. But I know we all have that understanding. But same thing with the time. So that's why I've never heard it like this. But since you did bring it up in the classes for our understanding, I think zero time is like it's infinite. So the message is infinite, but in this Kal Yuga, it is still pertinent. And in all the yugas, like right now we are in the 7th yuga, so the Manu Yuga. So right now also it is pertinent. And according to the Lord or Bhagwan or, it is like it's zero time, it's infinite. So that's all. I won't take any more time. I'm sure you will explain it beautifully.
yes, I will explain that. Don't worry about that.
Okay. I'm sorry, Namaste. This is Chitra. Can I say something on it? It's not that I have an answer, but
Yeah.
it's like something that coincidentally I recently observed. I was watching Mahabharat. That was anyway on the video, and I noticed that when Krishna started Upadesha to Arjuna while they were on Kurukshetra,
Yes.
they were right in a center. So that's where also Krishna gives some message that there is no pakshapata, there is no, he's in center. And also I noticed that while he is starting giving upadesha or his explanation, uh, everything, the world has stopped. Everything is as it is, like no one is fighting, but otherwise they were all horses and elephants and chariots and everything was moving. But while whenever the Krishna was talking to Arjuna about his upadesha, the surroundings were totally stopped, and I was wondering that what is happening while Krishna is giving upadesha to Arjuna, everything, all the action has stopped. Does it has to do something with zero time? I'm not sure, but at least when you said zero time,
It's very true.
I related that with this what I watched the other day on this video.
Your thinking is very spiritual. In spirituality, you don't need any proof. So your thinking is spiritual. But we actually want to see that if there was a clock with pendulum, and you will see actually the pendulum is moving, means it has not stopped. However, the time in the clock, and I'm not going to say anything because otherwise I will be approaching to the answer. Let me give you one more example and you will see. My last job was, I was a director at the Department of Transportation, and we had about 100 some mathematicians across the country whom I had to delegate and work with. One time, and we have the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, who control the space, aeroplanes and satellites and all that. One of the physicists approached me for a mathematical question. And the first question I asked him, that is there a clock on your satellite? And he said, yes. And I said, do you record the time? And he said, yes. So they were doing everything right. I want to give another very, forget about the satellite because you are not going there in satellite. So probably that example may not be as touchy as I would give another example. Suppose you are living in New York and the circle going through New York on the earth has a less diameter than the circle of the equator.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going on a vacation and live in Bombay
Mm-hmm.
and then come back again in New York,
Mm-hmm.
you have to minutely observe, and this is a very scientific thing. The equator, because it is a larger circle than the circle in the New York,
Mm-hmm.
has a higher speed than the circle in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
While living in Bombay, you will see same clock, 12 hours. 12 hours in Bombay and 12 hours in New York.
Mm.
Experience the day. In New York, the day will pass faster. The clock is showing the same time, 12 hours. In Bombay, you will do zillion things, but it will still going on.
Mm.
I have done this testing myself. So I'm going, that is the physics side. I will go there, but I want to go both ways, in the Advaita ways as well as the physics ways. And you will see that, how that thing happens, you know. But these are just a couple of hints, and be patient, and we will go there.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Amrut Bhai.
Yeah, do you see the concept I'm proposing here?
I think so. I'm
Okay.
relating a little bit, yes, but I'm looking forward to hear the whole thing.
In the theory of relativity, whoever has the physics background, the time is not a constant entity. It varies according to the speed. We have been living in Newtonian physics. We don't see that. And Einstein taught in so much jargonistic mathematics that for common people it is not easy to grasp.
Yeah.
Right now we will leave it here, but we will come back. I want to discuss about that a little bit in detail and the beauty see the beauty of Vedanta and the beauty of science. Actually, there is a physics a professor somewhere in Europe. He is highly speaking about the Vedanta and the connection with the physics. And the Oppenheimer and a lot of other atomic bomb people, they were great devotees of the Gita. And they were citing the Bhagavad Gita every here and there. So it is a little bit of pathetic situation that some people who know, they know very well, and some people who don't know, you know. So sometimes, a lot of time, I like to drag the people into our Upanishadic culture and the Gita and all that. For example, it is my hope sometime I may also do the Upanishads, and there are favorites of mine, Brudaranakya Upanishad, Kathopanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, this many. But the dialogue between Yagnavalkya and Gargi and Maitreyi and Janak, mind-boggling, mind-boggling. So anyhow, that much I think is good for today. If there is no question, I will go to Prarthana, and my Sanskrit friends will stay after the Prarthana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Ve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purname